Hello and welcome. I am so glad you're here. I'm Beth, a creator-based coach with CMH Coaching for Life. I'm here today to help you and those you love create a life you feel grounded and at home in. Think of a life where you feel peace, love for those around you, and in a flow with just enough challenge to keep you happy and creating something wonderful. Sounds like magic, but it's not. You can create that life every single day. You can have a life full of love, excitement, hope, and creation. Our mission at CMH Coaching is to flood the earth with light through compassion, mindfulness, and hope. And I'm going to ask a favor of you. If you like what you see and hear today, think of someone you know that would enjoy and benefit from this message. Our mission is to flood the world with compassion, mindfulness, and hope. Share this with them. But for now, this is time just for you. So settle into whatever you're doing and enjoy this time with the girls, where we create that one awesome, amazing, perfect life every one of us is seeking.
You gotta watch your thinking. Watch your thinking. Watch your thinking. 50-50 girls and wonderful podcast listeners. Just want to thank you guys for being here today. Just Beth is going through her 50% struggling part, and so she's not joining us today, and Jen isn't able to be here either. So I am your host for the Creator-Based Way, Jaycine Bonnet here. And I am so excited to talk to you about grit and grace. Today, if you have signed up for the Monday morning inspiration, it's brilliant. I just have to say, Beth is an incredible writer, and her thoughts just cause me to think at a more deep level. And so I just want to share with you guys a little bit of the newsletter that went out this morning. She said, create the life you love the creator-based way. The basic characteristics of grit are determination, persistence, resilience, excellence, instead of perfection and compassion. We've talked a little bit about determination over the past couple of weeks. And she says, remember standing up to that thing in your life that was so hard that it feels like it might crush you, and you have it. I know you have faced the hard things in the past. This week, let's talk about persistence and its role in your life. Persistence is pretty simple. It's just keeping on, keeping on. But what makes us persistent? A wise modern woman. Why not just pop some popcorn and watch Netflix or scroll the reels on Insta or TikTok? So what is it that makes us want to keep on keeping on? What's your why? And I think that's what it really boils down to, is what's your why? Why do you do what you do? Why do you choose to get up each day and go to work or go to school or take care of your kids or go for a run or just start that diet plan all over again, or whatever it is that you get up to do every day? Why do you continue to do it? I'll be 60 next month, and that has given me a lot of opportunity to learn and to grow and to be able to look back now. When I was 20, I didn't have a whole lot of life to look back on. And now at 60, I've got a lot of years that I can look back and I can connect the dots to persistence and to keeping on when you don't really feel like you want to go on. In my early 20s, I suffered a lot of loss. I I remember even just as a young kid, having a cousin who died young from a heart condition and going to his funeral and going to my great uncle's funeral and just learning that death is just a process in life. It's the next step in our life. And as I reflect back on that, growing up here and there on my grandfather's farm, we learned a lot about life and death. The calves being born and being able to go and feed them, and just a lot of life experiences that helped me learn about what life is all about, you know, how that process works. And so as I approach the age of 60, I think, that I want to live to 100 or more. And so I think about my quality of life and how I can keep on keeping on. What is that persistence going to look like in my life? Um, at the My dad died at the age of 48. And um, as a teenager, I was actually 23 years old when he passed away. And as a teenager, I didn't really have a great relationship with my dad. I was angry with him a lot because of, gosh, all of the moving we had to do. It seemed like I would just get friends and then we would move again. And I probably mentioned this before, but I actually had moved I think it was 23 times by the time I was 18. So a lot of moving, a lot of loss. And you just keep moving on, you keep moving forward. But at the age of 23, I was going through a nasty divorce. And I I really struggled. It was really hard. I had been in an abusive marriage. I had two little baby boys, um, a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old, um, and I was struggling to make ends meet. I was working two jobs, one in the dental office, and then I would pick my babies up from the babysitter and take them to my mom and dad's, and then I went and did janitorial work. Started my own business in janitorial and started cleaning public buildings, and so there was just a lot of angst going on, and I remember thinking back and writing a letter to my dad. And I was looking for it actually so I could share it with you because I now have it in my possession, but I honestly don't know what notebook I stuck it in. But basically, the gist of it was I just told my dad that I was sorry for judging him, and I didn't realize how hard it was to have to be the breadwinner, to make sure everybody was taken care of, and just to be responsible, that responsibility that my dad had to keep all of our mouths fed and a roof over our heads and gas in the car and all of that stuff. I had no idea how hard that was. And I wrote him a letter and I just told him that. And I I was thinking about grit and grace, and I thought about the grit that I was going through at that time really allowed me to step back and find grace for my dad and to make repairs with my dad. I don't know where I put that letter. It was I probably tucked it underneath his pillow or left it on his desk. I don't know. And I don't remember exactly the um, if he said anything. I'm sure that he did. I'm sure that he thanked me. Um, but I didn't realize what an impact that letter had on his life until after he died. And he had a box that he had gotten when we lived in Iran, and just this beautiful um, ornate box that had his really special treasures in. And when we opened that box, um, the letter that I wrote him was in that box. And I realized um, that me giving him that grace meant the world to him. It was in amongst the other treasures that he kept. And I just often wonder, how often do we have opportunities to give others grace and we sit in judgment of them instead without looking for for another way to reframe and look at the situation. I can tell you that because I did that, I had some incredible experiences with my dad after writing that letter that are still precious in my mind. And one of those experiences was going to him. I was in a custody battle, and it wasn't pretty. They never are they? And I was doing my best to keep a roof over those kids' head. I was eating what was left over after they finished eating, and was pretty almost anorexic at the time, just because I wasn't getting enough to eat. Um, but yet I kept going and I kept persevering. And I remember going to my dad, dropping the boys off so I could go to court. And my dad just saying a prayer for me. And as he prayed for me, he just called upon God to to send the angels to be round all around me during that court hearing, so that I could feel supported and held up and lifted up during that whole procedure. And that was such a tender mercy. That was the grace that he gave me. As I went into that courtroom, I felt the angels. And I can tell you that they were there. I know it. What experiences have you had where you have felt that grace of God because someone has prayed for you? It took grit for me to show up to that courtroom. It took grit for me to face the nasty attorney that my ex had hired. It took grit for me to keep my composure, but the grace came because of what my dad blessed me with, or asked God to bless me with. The other thing that I can remember is the day before my dad died. That night, I had gone over, they weren't watching the kids that night. We had just gone over, I don't even know. I do know now, looking back, right? Why I was there, because I needed it. I remember sitting on my dad's lap that night, 23-year-old Jaycine sitting on her dad's lap and just giving him a hug, and having my dad, excuse me, having my dad just give me a hug and tell me, "Hey, sis, I'm really proud of you and I love you. Never forget it." And I didn't forget. I still remember to this day. And the next morning, I got the call from my mom telling me that my dad had died of a heart attack. You know, that was a long time ago. I was 23. Again, I'm going to be 60 next month. And those memories and those incredibly hard times have helped shape me and shape my life to the way it is now. I love being able to extend grace to others. And it's been a challenge to learn to extend grace to myself. As Beth says, Beth and Jen, they always say, hey, permission to be human. Have permission to be human. And that's what I'd love to challenge you guys with this week is, when you're in the middle of that grit, those hard times and struggles and whatever it is that you got to do, just remember to give yourself a little bit of grace. Give yourself permission to be human. Look at others who might be struggling as well and give them permission to be human. Because miracles happen in those moments. Hearts change in those moments. Lives are saved. Love is beautiful. And it creates a peace that's beyond understanding. So go out this week. Give people permission to be human. Give them grace. Give yourself grace. And remember that we love you. We here at CMH Coaching, the Creator-Based Way, think you're amazing. And you have so much to offer this world. So never give up. Never give in. Just keep on keeping on. Love you. Talk to you next week. Bye, y'all.
Everything with every little thought I think. I can choose to be happy, choose to be free, moment by moment. It's all up to me, 'cause what I think about, I bring about. That's the way it is, and there is no doubt. Day by day, I pave the way with every little thought I think.
Hey, thanks for joining us today in A Creator-Based Life. I hope you felt that compassion, mindfulness, and hope you came seeking today. You can find more of it at cmhcoaching.com or on linktree/cmhcoaching. Of course, any social media outlet, we're there too. Because you felt the benefit and light in this message, please invite those you care deeply about to join us. Help us to create a ripple effect across the globe of compassion, mindfulness, and hope. Then we can create a creator-based life together. Have a great week, y'all. We'll talk to you soon.
Moment by moment, it's all up to me, 'cause what I think about, I bring about. That's